Camera 3,
9,
can you guys hear me?
8,
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Q talent.
1.
Coming up next on NSEN, NBA legend Ray Allen is finally hanging up his jersey.
And the Tennessee Volunteers will be seeing a change in their lineup with the playoffs right around the corner.
Your Blue Raiders are bowl eligible. We have those highlights for you.
And our debaters will discuss if there's a new sheriff in Dallas and more. NSEN starts right now.
Good evening. I'm Anthony Sanders.
And I'm J.R. Smith. Welcome to NSEN.
We're going to get into those highlights to see how MTSU got to be bowl eligible, taking on FIU down in Miami, and it was a dandy, JR. You see here, first quarter coming up, Brent Stockstill gets right here to Ty Lee with an amazing touchdown grab right there. Blue Raiders will go up on top 7-0 early in the first quarter. Blue Raiders was not done yet. As you see here, Brent Stockstill dropping back the pass again, finding an open Richie James, Sir Richie James to be exact. Watch the moves. Oh, get off me, son. It takes a gang of Golden Panthers to try to get him down, and he's finally inside the 35-yard line. A few plays later, Blue Raiders will set up on offense again. Stockstill gets it out of the gun, a quick pass out to that man again, Ty Lee, and watch him, nice move. He breaks it down into the end zone. Now the Blue Raiders are up 14-0, and it looks like they're just going to pile away with this game. But, you know, Octavius Mathers come in with another touchdown. Now it's 21-0 Blue Raiders. This looks like a barn burner to me, and it's over with, and the Blue Raiders has this win, right? Not exactly. FIU will not go away quietly here. What you see here, the team dapping it up, celebrating. Octavius is running off the field. Waiting away right there, gets handshakes. But FIU will not go away quietly, like I said. You see here, McGowan drops back the pass and finds his open man, the big tight end, and goes right down the middle of the field. And all of a sudden now it's tied 28-28. FIU looking like maybe they can steal one from the Blue Raiders. But as the saying always goes, defense wins championships. And DJ Sanders, I see you, cousin, take it down the sideline for a pick six that would seal the game for the Blue Raiders. They would go on to win 42-35 and go to 6-2 on the season. Now they accomplished one of their first goals that they always want to accomplish, being bowl eligible for the 5th straight year in a row. Good Middle Tennessee team we got here. JR, there's a lot of one-loss teams here in college football. We got we just saw Nebraska losing. We got Wisconsin, even though that's a 2-loss team. There's a lot of parity going on here in college football. And, you know, the first week of the college football playoff rankings just came out. It's a notable one-loss team that actually has that 4th spot in Texas A&M. I'm a little confused about that, but, I mean, it was a loss to Alabama. With these 4 playoff spots open here, and, you know, this is a committee job to choose the right 4. Who should be in this playoffs? If they're a one-loss team, who should make it?
Well, I got to tell you, there are just too many one-loss teams. You know, you got to think that there are just very few teams that have won every game. And so at some point, you also got to be thinking that there has to be that some of those teams are going to go down. Too much for me to talk about, though. You know, the committee, they have a lot to talk about, and our debate team also has a lot to talk about regarding this. Here is Marissa Burke from the debate desk for more.
Out of the few teams who have only one loss under their belt, what team has the best chance of making it to the playoffs? With me is Rashawn Oglesby and David James. Who do you think is going to win? Or who's going to make it?
Well, to me, it's going to be Ohio State. Even though they have a one loss, which was against it was against Penn State. They still have a chance. They got Michigan, who is number 3 actually right now in the college football playoffs. So I mean, they have a chance to make it. And with JT Barrett, their QB, he's a real stud. I think he can take his team to another national championship game.
And what about you?
Well, in my opinion, I'm picking the Louisville Cardinals as my one-loss team to make the college football playoffs. If you actually look at their schedule, it's very favorable. They don't have any ranked teams left in their 4 remaining games. Also, they have the most dominant player in college football this year in Lamar Jackson, and I just think their offense is just too high-powered, and I think they'll find a way to squeak into the playoffs.
You got a point there. You know, everyone's talking about Louisville's quarterback, Lamar Jackson. But no one's really talking about Ohio State's quarterback, J.T. Barrett. J.T. Barrett is in the Heisman race right now. He is still one of the best quarterbacks in college football.
Well,
right
I
now.
I don't really agree with that. You can see the last 2 weeks he hasn't performed. He actually probably played his way out of the Heisman the last 2 weeks, in my opinion. Because if you actually look at the last 2 games, he's only had 1 touchdown, which a loss to Penn State, which I think that really hurt him. And then he turned around and they barely got by a 4-4, barely above average Northwestern team.
Y'all, but Lamar Jackson barely went by with a Virginia team. Virginia hasn't done nothing.
At the same time, Lamar Jackson also has accounted for 38 touchdowns this year, 2,522 passing yards, almost 1,000 rushing yards. So, I mean, the numbers are there at the end of the day.
J.T. Barrett is thrown for 17 touchdowns, 1,675 yards. And, I mean, yeah, they're not comparable to Lamar Jackson, but this isn't the Heisman portion of the show. This is the take you to the championship portion of the show.
Exactly. And if you look at
Ohio
the
State
trend,
still has the top defensive team in the country. It's number 6, may I say, in total defense. And like everyone says, defense wins championships.
defense does win championships. But if you actually look at the trend, Ohio State is doing the same thing now they did last year, which ended up reason why they didn't make the playoffs. At this time last year, they barely squeaked by a Minnesota team. A week later, they only scored 28 points against an Illinois team who hasn't been relevant in years, and then they end up losing the week after that to Michigan State. And they're showing that same trend now. They just lost to Penn State. They come back. They don't show hardly any improvement, and they barely squeak by a Northwestern team that'd be lucky to become bowl eligible.
Let's remember this. 2 years ago when they had the first college football playoffs, who was the only who made
And
it
Cordell,
to
but he wasn't in Cordell.
Hey,
J.T. Barrett was hurt.
J.T. Barrett was
J.T. Barrett got hurt.
only reason why they even had a chance. They lost one game. Every other game, he won them. Yeah, he got hurt the last 3.
And since his freshman year, I think anybody would agree J.T. Barrett has probably declined. Because I mean, to me, he's either got worse or he stayed the same. Because he was supposed to be one of the people dominating college football this year, and he's not even in. When I just checked the Heisman before the show, he wasn't even in the top 5. It was 2 defensive players above him, Barnett and Jabril Peppers.
Well, this isn't the Heisman part, even though I did brought that up. But still, you're looking at the whole picture. They may not have the total offense as Louisville has, but they still have they have an offense and a defense. Their defense has been stopping these teams from scoring. And you can't really blame you can't really put it all on the defense to win it, but J.T. Barrett has shown, he may not have shown the flash and dash as Lamar Jackson has done, but he still is a good quarterback.
And while that is true, and this is not a Heisman debate, it starts with the quarterback. We know Ohio State can play defense, but what I'm saying is if you can only manage 45 combined points against a Northwestern and Penn State, what do you think is going to happen when you play Michigan the last game of the season, which is probably going to be determining the game whether they even have a chance to make the playoffs?
That is true, but still, like I'm saying, is we're probably not going to have 2 teams from the same conference to go at all. And the way it's looking, I don't think Clemson's going to lose any other games right now. I don't think there's no way Clemson's going to lose. And we're going to and Louisville hasn't really, when they play the top teams, which was Clemson, the top team they really played, they lost.
Florida State wasn't a top team. They were number 2 when they beat them
Florida State.
Exactly 63-20. And when you look at Louisville's resume, losing to Clemson, who's probably going to make the playoffs, is a lot more impressive than losing to a Penn State team on the road. And don't get me wrong, Penn State's ranked in the top 20, but Ohio State had a 73% chance to win that game. They were not supposed to lose that game. So at the end of the day, when you match those resumes up, I think Louisville's a little more impressive.
We'll see when it happens, but when you look at the bigger picture, they are still playing topper teams than Louisville is.
Who's a topper team? I mean, Michigan, they play Michigan, who's the best team on their schedule. They haven't even played them yet. Wisconsin, yeah, they're all right.
Yeah.
I mean, Penn State, I mean, they're just now coming along. I mean, up to this point, their schedule is not too much. I mean, it's not better than Louisville's. It's probably about the same, if anything.
So what else does the Louisville have that Ohio State might not be delivering?
I think at the end of the day, when you look at it, Louisville's offense is just too high powered. They have 3 receivers with James Quick, Jamari Staples, and Cole Hatu, who's all have over 480 yards receiving, and then they have a running back who also has 605 yards rushing to go with Lamar Jackson. So at the end of the day, I just feel like their offense is too high powered, and their resume looks better than Ohio State's.
Well, that's all the time we have for this debate. There's still a number of games left, but anything can happen. I'm Marissa Burke. Back to you guys at the desk.